All righty. Hey, my friends, we are live at our April launch meeting. This is all, I don't know what to call it, our virtual team meeting, all sorts of cool stuff. And we've got really some awesome stuff in store for you today. Let me hide this and let you say hi to everybody on the screen. So we have Clements. He's one of our ALC members. We've got Christine Tonos, as it says right there, broker of record. And this was that Marvin Alexander Esquire. Is that what that stands for?
That's my new thing now. I'm Esquire. Self-appointed.
Self-appointed. I know something else that's self-appointed too, and he goes by Sir. But anyways, that's somebody different.
You can start calling me Duke anytime.
You Duke? Yeah. Duke of Clements. We to go today, folks. So if it feels like we're going fast, because we are. However, we got some fantastic guests that are coming on board with us, all the way from right here in Newmarket, across the continent, down to Florida, all sorts of places. But before we invite our first guest on, who's Kate Peterson, many of us know Kate. Marvin and I want to kind of banter just for the next couple of minutes and show you some really cool slides. So I'm just going to share my screen and we're going to say bye to Christine for the moment. Bye, Christine. And I'm going to share my screen here. And these slides are really the stats. So let me just see if I can do that. We're going to do the share screen. We are going to bring up some stats that are, I think, pretty awesome.
So Gary, before we
awesome.
I got a question. So can people send in comments in the chat section? Can they do that similar to Zoom?
Absolutely. So what's happening right now is there's a bunch of people saying hi to us. What the heck is Esquire? Yeah. That's from Susan Pierce. There you go.
Yeah.
Lots of people say. So Lori's going to try and keep us on track with the comments, respond to some of those comments. But yeah, Mar, they're there.
Okay, great. So it's interesting. We were talking this morning. We've put a lot of work into this meeting. As you'll see, it's very action-packed. So let me ask you. I'm going to ask Wayne. So Wayne, where do you think we are March 2020 compared to March 2019 in listings taken?
I'm going to say we are either the same or ahead.
Wow. Why don't you show them, Gary? Let's see where we are.
Okay, so here's 2019 listings taken and volume on the same page. Okay. And whoops, as I kind of scroll down here. Now let's look at 2020 because these are the numbers that Marvin shared with me this morning. So I get an insight here. And listings and volume.
So this is just our office, right? Keller Williams Realty Centers, March 2020 over March 2019. So we did, Gary, look, Wayne, we got 117 listings versus 79. So that's an increase of 24.5% listings in this market for our market center in the month of March. And look at the difference in listing volume. Went from 61 million, so the collective value of all those listings that were listed, to 91 million, which is an increase of 48.4%. This is massive. This is the story that you guys have to realize that we need to be telling, right? And I do believe that the initiatives that we're putting together, Gary, and all the rollouts, and we have a big one again today at the end of the meeting, are enabling our people to go out there and do more business. So the market share you take right now, you're never going to relinquish. This is the time. And remember, in adversity comes opportunity. This is the time. So let's take a look at the next thing. So Wayne, check this out. I will tell you that the number of solds right across the board are down, right? Because everyone's adapting to the new way of doing things. But you might be surprised at what the difference is, right? So, Gary.
There's our numbers for 2019, 45. And then this year, as Marvin indicated, we're down a little bit, but look at that little bit, like right there. I don't know if you can see that on my screen. It's a little bit. Obviously, that's just 5 there, right?
Yeah, not a lot.
Not a lot. This is the same thing there. Difference of 5. That's what I was looking for.
Okay. And then if you take a look at contracts written, which is really our next big category, that's going to be the indicator for where we are going, right? Look at that. We actually wrote 138 in March 2019 and 145 in March 2020. So we actually increased in our contracts written in March in this market for our market center by 4.8%. I know Kate Peterson's going to be next, and I'm sure she's looking at these stats saying, all right, this is what I'm going to be working with, right? So we still have bold pivot to add. We still have our rollout that we're going to announce at the end of the meeting. We're using video. We've got our COVID-19 forms. I mean, it's just so much. So it's a pretty exciting time, right?
Yeah, you know, this is good. This is leading right into what Kate's going to talk about and our big announcement at the end of the meeting of what we're launching. I think this type of stuff is momentum building, right? And Marvin, thank you for bringing that to our attention. Like this is the stuff that we get to build upon, and the fact that we've got Kate on the call who's about to join us is going to pour into that on how we can, you know, use this to our Marvin, Wayne, thank you. I'm gonna bring Kate on to talk about the next big initiative with MAPS coaching and Bold. So let's have a warm welcome. Here's Kate. So Kate, we've got over 100 people on the stream. Many of our realtors know you. What I failed to mention off the top, and this is me slapping my own wrist, is we actually have a lot of guests on the stream with us today as well, outside of Kate.
Awesome.
A warm welcome to everybody out there. We've got different OPs on the call today, different team leaders, and also we've got different agents from other brokerages with us today. So warm welcome to you. This is Kate Peterson. Kate is one of our Canadian MAP coaches and Bold coaches, and she's here to explain Bold Pivot and how that can help you and grow your business. Kate, floor is yours.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Gary and Marvin, for allowing me to be here today. I'm so excited, and especially welcome to all of the guests who are on this call today. Thank you so much for being here, and we really appreciate you tuning in. What a great segue into Bold Pivot. I mean, these are unprecedented times that we're in, and I'm so honored to be able to be working with you, Gary and Marvin, and your market center and your agents in your market center. I've worked with a lot of them through previous Bolds, and I know that we are working with top tier talent up in your neck of the woods. And here's the interesting thing, exactly to the point that you and Marvin were alluding to. This is a completely new world that we're in. Can we agree that this whole COVID era that we're in right now has really leveled the playing field in real estate, if you will? Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Like, you know what, guys, Gary is always telling us, Gary Keller is always telling us to go back to the basics in our business. I mean, he actually asks the question, when was it okay to leave the basics? And right now we're talking truly about getting back to the fundamentals, and your market center numbers show how strong you are in your leadership and how strong your agents are in staying in the fundamentals. And now that we have all of this going on, these are the questions that we're starting to ask ourselves. So, you know, for everybody who's on the call, I can't see you on the live stream, but I trust that you've got a pen handy. So do me a favor, grab a pen, because I've got 2 questions that I'd like you to write down and think about when this stream is over. Question number 1 is, what are the fundamentals in my business that I haven't been focusing on of late? What are the fundamentals I haven't been focusing on? Just write the question down. You don't have to answer it because Gary and Marvin only gave me 3 hours today, so we wouldn't be able to get through the answers anyway. Okay, that's question number 1. Question number 2, what is the one fundamental I have to focus on right now, not to just succeed, to thrive in this environment? What is the one fundamental I have to focus on to thrive in this environment? Those are the 2 questions we're talking about at MAPS, guys, because this isn't just Bold Pivot. This isn't Bold 2.0. This is now real estate 2.0. Never in the entire world have we experienced something as major as this that levels the playing field in real estate, that makes it even for everybody. Who was number 1 last week doesn't matter anymore because we're going into a whole new era. Gary, can we agree that things are going to look a little bit different in real estate when we come out the other side of this and what they looked like 6 weeks ago?
100%.
100%. So guys, that really means it is anybody's game. That's what Marvin said at the introduction here. It is anybody's game. So the question is, are you making it your game? Are you playing all in? Who amongst you is going to come out of this stronger than you came into it? Because what we're looking at now are the fundamentals, back to basics. It's the day-to-day activities. See, the big issue is we as realtors, we focus on that immediate success. We look at that phone call. Where's that seller appointment? Where's that buyer appointment? We're looking for that immediate gratification today. And if we don't get that immediate gratification, we quit. We stop doing the activities. Guys, this is about staying in consistency, because our consistency over time will compound. And don't kid yourself for a second. There are agents in our market right now who have been waiting for a market like this, who have been saying, man, this is my opportunity to grab hold of technology and be the leader in that field, and grab hold of their database and saying, I'm going to have the strongest database moving forward. Now is the time for me to pivot, to move forward, take advantage of this market, and come out of here as the market leader, because when the market gets moving, it's going to be me who gets moving first. So the question is it going to be you who's pivoting right now? So Gary, if it's okay with you, I'm going to share my screen and give everybody the outline of what Bold Pivot looks like. And let me see, application window, where have we got it here? This is a little bit new to me. I got to find the right screen here. Let's see if I've got the...
Did we lose? Here we go. There we go.
I got it.
We had it and then we just lost it.
Okay, so where am I at the bottom here? Okay, so we lost it again. It just looks a little bit different than Zoom. So I will look at this one. I'm going to go for that. There we go. I found it. Woo! Okay, so let's do this. Bold Pivot. What is it? Bold 2.0, incorporating Gary's 4 pivot points. Bold wouldn't be bold, guys, without mindset, first and foremost. We're going to have those group exercises. We're going to be taking a look at what we can control and what we can't control, because we certainly have no control over COVID. Make no mistake, you have all the control in the world over what activities you do and how you react to the situation. Gary is teaching us service first, selling second. Service first. Guys, when we focus on service, that database is going to pay us dividends for years to come. Number 2, scripts. The best scripts that agents are using right now that are getting them results right now in today's market. Now, I don't want you to worry about the word scripts. These are conversations. These are the building blocks to successful conversations that build a moat around our database. Number 3, we're going to be taking a look at expenses as we go through Pivot. A penny saved is a penny earned is the saying of days gone by. We're now talking a dollar saved is a dollar earned. And that means more now than ever, both in your business and your personal life. So we're going to help you with systems, models, and strategies to save $300 to $600 a month in both those budgets. And once our financial situation comes back, I mean, here's the thing. In a great market, all the flaws in our budgets are really easy to hide, and they're all coming to the forefront now. Now is the opportunity to clean it up. Your bottom line profit when you come out of this and we're back in regular markets is going to be out of this world, because it's not about what you make, it's about what you keep. Then, of course, bold isn't bold unless we're doubling down on our leads. And Gary's now telling us 4 hours a day lead gen minimum, because we are not going to change our goals. We are going to change our strategies, because what got you here into your real estate business today is not going to be what gets you there. So we're going to be talking about changing our strategies and getting the leads and the lead generation that we need to get to that next level. Social media, everybody's asking us the questions. What's the best post to put out there? What's the best campaign? We are going to be taking the best of the best that are out there, as well as our text messages. Again, compiling market of the moment messages, things that come from care and compassion to help you reach out to your database and come from contribution. And then, of course, the command database. My goodness, the adoption that we're seeing right now is incredible. This is a big part of savings in your budget. The technology is here for us. Let's use it at its highest level. So we will have some training and guest speakers on that. So I'm being asked all the time, when is Bold Pivot? Write this down. It starts on May the 5th. May 5th, it starts. Now, I haven't even said yet, $99. So let me slip that right in right now. Bold is usually a much higher price, as we all know, and it's being offered for $99. So let's take a look at all the hours of coaching that you get for that $99. Tuesdays and Thursdays, 2 to 4 Eastern time. Live streaming, much like this, all recorded, all stored on the Bold Pivot Facebook group. So if you miss a session, you can go back and review it. If you want to review a session and dig into the deep material a little deeper, it's there for you. Wednesdays and Fridays, 2 to 4 p.m. Central, Coaches Corner. All of the Bold coaches will be participating in this. You will be able to practice your scripts, dig into that mindset, ask your questions, interact with other agents across the world. This is worldwide, guys. Those sessions will be recorded so that you can go back as well. Now, the really exciting thing is, for anybody who's already signed up, you should already be on that Bold Pivot Facebook group. That group is up, running live. There are videos being posted by the Bold coaches, tips and tricks already on there, agents interacting with each other, sharing their ideas. Get on that Bold Facebook group if you're already enrolled in Bold Pivot. There is so much material waiting for you to grab hold of it. Anybody can sign up for this, guys. This is to help each and every one of us. Does not matter what company you're with. Frankly, it doesn't matter what industry you're in. This is for everybody who has the intention to build a business right now to bring them out of this bigger and stronger than they came into it. Don't miss this opportunity to reach out to small business owners in your area, connect with them, come from contribution, perhaps sponsor a small business owner in your area who's going to have to get back online with their business and take their business to the next level. If nothing else, it's a great call to make contact with somebody in your database. Gary tells us service first, sales second is our mantra. Survive and then thrive are our phases, and continue to be strong. These are our personal priorities. And this is straight from our CEO and co-founder, Gary Keller. So where do I sign up? mapscoaching.com. It is that simple. For $99, I worked this out with everything being live streamed, with the Coaches Corner, the Bold Pivot Facebook group, which is monitored by Bold coaches Monday to Saturday. Coaching from Bold coaches is working out for the month of May to be 28 cents an hour. That's right, coaching for 28 cents an hour. So guys, is it done? I clicked stop sharing.
Yeah, we're good. Kate, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Many Kirby and Michael and others, Colin, have put the link on where to sign up right into the feed. We'll make sure that everyone has access to that. There's many of our agents, many of our top agents that have already signed up for Bold. And that's because, well, Kate it said it, agents that are experienced that are taking Bold is because they are experienced at taking
That's
Bold,
right.
and they want everyone else to take it and to enjoy that experience with them, but to enjoy, the rewards out of that. Right, Kate? This is
going to be a completely new Bold. They're writing it as we speak. Gary's involved in the writing. He's reviewing everything that the writers are doing, because his intention is to truly have this address the market of the moment. This isn't Bold scripts and talks of old. This is what is happening in our world right now, and how do we bring the greatest value to our clients and to our database. So Gary, let me help you out with how many agents in your office. Guys, if you are interested, if you have not already registered, and you're thinking to yourself, yeah, I got to get on the forefront. I'm going to be leader of the pack. Then type yes in the chat so that Gary can see who is all in for Pivot, who is all in to pivot with us to take their business to the next level. Because this is an opportunity that who knows if we're going to see this from Maps Coaching again for $99. It's absolutely mind-blowing.
Love it, Kate. Love it. We're going to do some follow-up calls with you, Kate, on getting this done. Lots of yeses coming in. So thank you, Alexa,
I love that.
Michael, everyone else. Thank you. Lots of yeses coming in for Bold Pivot. Yes. Good.
And if anybody has any questions, my name and my phone number and email, I put in the chat box there. Feel free to reach out to me. Gary, you know I'm here for you anytime. Thank you for allowing me the time on your call and with your people today.
Awesome. Bye for now, Kate. Thanks
Bye-bye.
again. Well, here we go. We're going to transition right into my good friend Dion. I should have given him the heads up, but I caught him at a good time. So Dion, how are you today?
I'm doing well, man. Surviving. Thank you.
Surviving. Okay, so let me explain who Dion is. Dion Beg is who I consider to be a good friend of mine, and he's my mortgage broker, meaning he does my own personal mortgages. He also has done many of our clients' mortgages, and outside of that, he's working with a lot of our agents now in helping their clients, fulfill their dreams and aspirations with buying, their own homes, but more importantly, building wealth and teaching them how to build wealth through buying investment properties. So I thought it would be important to have Dion to come on. And we were talking this morning about, let's come on and talk about all the different rules and regulations that are happening. And Dion, I'll tell you what Dion said, Gary, everyone's doing that. Let's talk about something a little bit different. So Dion, what's different look like to you? Like what's going on in your world right now?
Well, look, I mean, we all know that the world is changing. I'm sure all of you have been getting updates from your various mortgage professionals explaining what's happening in regards to appraisals and what's happening in regards to income verification and how that's changing on a daily basis. And it is important for you to stay on top of all of that. But what I really wanted to provide you with is how a lot of the realtors that I work with in a regular market, how they're currently approaching the current situation and preparing for, what everybody's calling what will be the new normal, and how we can take, our history, what we're going through now and what we could do, and sort of make sure that this downtime is utilized, not just being the canary in the coal mine and telling everybody all the crazy bad things that are happening, but also preparing for what may lay ahead and what kind of opportunities may be on the other side of this.
Perfect. So how do we as agents take this opportunity to, pour into our sphere, our database? Like what are some of those things we can be doing with them on that topic?
Yeah. So look, we all have to understand that if we have a database that's a regular sampling of Canadian society, that there will be some people inside of that database that right now, unfortunately, have lost their jobs and or have had their incomes reduced dramatically, right? And we have to be aware of that and sensitive to that. But also, there's a large segment of everybody's database that fortunately is still doing very well. They are either sort of emergency service workers and or government employees. And as such, while the world is going crazy around them, they're in a fairly strong and stable position. And so what we're trying to do is take a message to those people to help them understand that they're actually in a fairly strong position and that they could be doing some things to prepare for some potential opportunities that may be on the other side of, what we're going through here.
And what does that look like, Dion? Are those like picking up the phone? Is it an email? Like how best are we having those conversations to help those people?
Yeah. So, I mean, the message to them is, and again, we have to be very sensitive in the current market because, like, as I said, one message to your entire database may be perceived or received incorrectly, or it might fall on the wrong set of ears at this time. So our suggestion would be to sit down and figure out who in your database may be less affected by what's going on. And then, yes, target them either through phone or email. I can tell you that even those people who are temporarily laid off are still open to discussions and preparation after what's happening now. Because as you probably know, Gary, I'm a mortgage broker, but when I wake up every day, I wake up not with the goal to put people into debt, but with the goal to help people with their financial questions. And for anybody who may not have heard me, those big three financial questions that every Canadian family has is, how do I pay off my mortgage, pay for my kids' schooling, and build wealth for retirement? And the reality is these three big questions, which I built my career on, and I know that you've built into your business. I know Colin's doing it in his business, and many of you guys are doing it. Once you make yourself the problem solver to these three things, it transforms how you're perceived by your database. And it also means that there are extra opportunities for you. And these 3 questions, debt reduction, children's education, wealth for retirement, these questions aren't questions that go away. These are questions that are still current right now. When we go back to whatever the new normal will be, they'll still be there. And so right now we're still approaching our databases and talking to them about preparing for these things. And some of the people are actually executing on these right now.
Awesome. And how are they refinancing some of their homes? Are they just preparing their buying strategies going forward? What are you seeing that they're doing, Dion?
Yeah, that's exactly it. So I think, I mean, if we read sort of the mid to long-term data on what's happening and going to happen with the economy, which is likely that things are going to slow down. And I know that your brokerage's numbers are contrary to that. But I would say that the entire economy as a whole will likely start to reduce a little in terms of confidence, right? In terms of what's happening. I think a lot of people are recognizing that values have the chance to slide, right? We all have to recognize we've been in this fantastic market where over the last 10 years, the average growth rate's been somewhere up around 10% a year, right? And a lot of people have been saying, oh, that's terrible. It's not allowing people to buy, et cetera, et cetera. We may very well now be entering something on the other side of that where, okay, maybe things are going to start to slow a little bit. Maybe pricing will also start to slow. Now, acknowledging that and understanding that none of us are immune to that means that the house that we all live in today may very well be worth a little bit less in the months ahead. Okay, I think we have to acknowledge that. If that's the case, then what you want to think about is if you want to access equity in your home, is the time to do that now or in 6 months from now? Of course, the answer is now, right? So while we can access equity at today's prices, which are from an appraiser's perspective, based on the last 3 months of market sales, which have been relatively strong, then now's the time for you to go and actually capture some of that equity in your home and maybe park it in a line of credit. So I can tell you that a lot of our realtors are taking that message to their investors right now, and there's a lot of activity with clients refinancing their homes, and they're doing it for 2 reasons. Number one, right now they're doing it for security. They're refinancing their home, adding a line of credit for 200 grand, and maybe mentally earmarking, okay, at least I got this 200 grand, or maybe 50 grand of it will see me through some of the potential instability and income that may lay ahead. But also the remainder of it, they're sort of saying, and when the market turns, when there's confidence returning in the market, when people are back to school and back to work, that's when they're likely going to deploy some of that capital to go off and start to buy some real estate. So actually right now is a great time to be taking that message to your database and saying, hey, this is something that you really should consider. Maybe they'll never buy investment property, which is again what you and I talk about with our database. Maybe they'll never do it, but at least you're the one taking them that message in this world where everybody else might be saying the sky is falling. Well, yeah, there's still opportunity there.
Awesome. So I know we're kind of tight for time, Dion, and people are asking for your contact information. I know Colin just dropped it in there. Here, I'll do this.
Okay,
Hope
sure.
you don't mind. Your cell phone number is now on the World Wide Web. Get it quick, get it now. There you go.
But yeah,
we'll certainly make sure everyone has your contact info, because I love the message where you're as a mortgage broker, you're helping us with delivering great message or content or information to our database, our clients, and helping them through these next few months. But bigger than, it's not helping them through these next few months. It's helping them generate wealth for their family. So 15, 20, 30 years down the road, they have something to pass on to, for instance. So okay. That's awesome. I know we're really tight for time. Take 60 seconds, 1 minute. We probably don't have time to share the screen, but explain to the Zoom conference that you're going to be hosting the next little while here.
Certainly. So next Wednesday, April 29th, April 29th at 6:30 p.m. I'm hosting a webinar where I'll be basically allowing anybody watching this to invite their clients, and their clients can tune in and watch this webinar where I talk about how we answer those big 3 financial questions, even in the midst of all of this. I have marketing material that I'd be very happy to share with anybody who wants to reach out to me today. Shoot me an email with your details, and I'll put my email in the chat. If you were to email me, then my assistant today will send you a full marketing package as well as videos, which you can then use to promote for that webinar. And feel free to send your clients. I did a webinar last week. We had a very big conversion rate, which was surprising. We had over 22% of the people who tuned in actually want a consultation to figure out how they can do this. And again, that will certainly help your team and generate some business in this downtime.
So there you go. Colin's booking you on our podcast next week. I don't know if you can see that. So thanks,
All right.
Colin.
Let me know when.
Yeah. Dion, again, always a pleasure hanging out with you. And we'll make sure everyone has your contact information. Dion, use Dion, leverage Dion as a resource to help your clients. That's all we have time for Dion today. Thanks for tuning in with us, Dion, and all the best to you. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, so shifting forward, we're very fortunate. I'm going to bring Wayne on the screen here. Wayne, how are you?
I'm awesome, Gary. How are you?
Good,
I'm
good.
excited.
I am too. I got our guest here, so I'm going to bring James on the screen as well. James, you should be on live with us. Here we go, James.
How is everybody?
We are awesome. A little snow last night, though, James. You don't
Not
get
here.
snow.
No, not in Tampa.
You are. That's right. I'm going to hand it over to Wayne. Wayne's going to hand it over to you, and you take it from there. Wayne, this segment's all yours, my friend.
Very cool. Thank you, Gary. Hey, James, thank you. Welcome to Canada. Good to see you again.
Good to see you. This is going to be different. You're asking me questions this time?
They'll be easier than the ones you used to ask me, I'm pretty sure.
All right, there you go. Yeah, Wayne and I used to coach a while back when I was coaching one-on-one. I got to work with him, and now it's going to be flipped, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So those of you who don't know who James is my former MAPS coach, also Bold coach, master faculty presenter. If you ever get an opportunity to see James present anything, do it. He knows his stuff. He's engaging. He's just amazing. So James has been running every morning at 8 o'clock on a Facebook page and a Zoom call called Pivot Shift Ahead. And because he's the guy that he is, he's been volunteering to come on to team meetings to talk to different market centers. And so I reached out to James this week, and he said, yeah, I'll jump on. So you guys are in for a real treat here today, because James just knows his stuff. So James, I'm gonna come back again to that Facebook, the Pivot Ahead. If you haven't already signed up, sign up for it. You won't regret it. So James, let's jump right in. Obviously, we're in a global situation here where we're worried about the world, and we're worried about our families and our communities and ourselves and our businesses. And it seems like more than ever, we need real focus and real simplicity in our businesses to thrive. And one of the things you touched on Monday's call, which was just mind-blowing to me, you talked about the AAA approach, because you're a baseball guy. We're not going to hold it against you that you're a Rays fan. We're all Jays fans. We can all get along right now in a pandemic.
Hey, the Blue Jays spring train just down the street from me, so we like them too.
And at some point, you and I are going to sit in the stands and have a beer and watch that game. And good thing right now is they're both undefeated. So, so maybe you can run over that sort of AAA approach for everybody, because I thought it was really great.
I'd be happy to, and thank you. I think the first thing, though, you said that's really smart is that simplicity is key here, and that I'm going to be real honest with your people. I don't know that you're going to hear anything today in my time that is like, oh my gosh, that's the most amazing thing ever. I think you're going to hear stuff that you're like, yeah, I probably should be doing that. I should be doing that. And so I think you're genius on this. Here's the thing about the baseball analogy. And that is this, if I'm going to go play baseball in the major leagues, there's a process I have to go through to get to the majors, right? And I'm going to start in single A, and the single A affiliate for your Blue Jays, like I said, is just down the street, right? The Dunedin Blue Jays are not that far from me. And so if I'm going to go play, in fact, you have some really good player now. What's his name? And he played for the Dunedin Blue Jays for like 2 weeks, and I got to see him play before he was in the majors, like before June last year. Oh. And so you start in single A, and I changed it, by the way. So you have to start in single A, and single A is adrenaline. And that's different than what I said yesterday. And I had this realization, though, that it's really adrenaline. And that is that we spent like the first 2 weeks, at least some of us, kind of just running on adrenaline. Like we knew it was different, and we knew we had to do something different. And, we're throwing together different things. Now, some people's single A was, and it doesn't matter. So whichever it is for you, you have to have that single A before you get promoted. And then you get promoted to double A. And double A is it's accepting where we are right now, acceptance, right? And then adjust. So the situation that you're in Canada, I'm in the United States, and quite frankly, every human being on the planet is in right now. This is an earth-wide pandemic that we've got to accept, that our governments are making changes to what can be done. That you've got to make changes to what can be done, and so we've got to accept that, and then you have to adapt. And I know in Toronto, I don't know if it's for all of Canada. I know in Toronto, you're essential, so you're still working and you're doing your things, and you're probably doing them differently. You've got to adjust in some way.
Correct.
That's double A. Okay, so once you've gone through the acceptance and the adjustment, then you get promoted again, and you get promoted to triple A. And triple A is attitude, action, and accounting. And Wayne, what that basically means, and Gary starts shift off with this, he says, we've got to get real about our situation and get right about what we're doing. And I have some thoughts on attitude that I can share with you. And then once your mindset's in the right spot, then you get into action. And the simple way to look at the action is 40 contacts a day, 20 in the morning and 20 in the afternoon. And we can break that down if we have time. If not, the resources are on the pivot page.
Yep.
And then accounting is making sure that your financial picture is clear. And I heard the gentleman before, talking about how some people might leverage equity in their home to give them some cash flow and various things like that. And I think for most of our agents, what we've got to do is go in and make sure that we aren't losing money that we really should be keeping or putting somewhere else. So those are kind of the three. Well, once your attitude, your actions, and your accounting is correct, now you can play the game. That's the way I look at it. Now you can play the game. And it's Vlad Jr. So thank you, Michael, for putting it in the chat.
Okay, yeah.
So I got to see Vlad Jr. play like one single A game here. And I'm telling you, Wayne, he was a man among boys in that game. There was no doubt this dude was going to be in the big leagues before too long.
I'm pretty sure you sent me a text message. You were sitting right behind him and you couldn't see the rest of the field, right?
I mean, the dude, we were sitting pretty close to these single A baseball stadiums. So you sit pretty close, and it was pretty fun.
No, so can you break down the attitude part? Because that's the mindset piece that I think that we all know that 90% of life is mindset. So what are you doing? Where's step one in terms of our mindset?
I think the first thing about mindset is community, that your community matters. And I did a piece on this for KW Connect last week. And as I was looking at the question I asked is, well, what is community? And here's what I boiled it down to. I think community is two things. Number one, your community gives you hope. And number two, your community inspires and promotes progress. So I think you have to ask yourself the question, is the community I'm in giving me hope and inspiring and promoting progress? And here's what I mean by that, because it's not just the people I'm hanging out with, like your market center doing this meeting. Like, this is a great sense of community, and you're having people come together. You're definitely giving hope and inspiring and promoting progress. The thing I want you to ask, though, is whatever you're watching, whatever you're reading, and whoever else you're talking to doing that for you? And if they aren't, they're out for right now. And I don't know what you guys probably don't get lost in it like we do down here. That I said, there is nothing on cable news at 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. that's of any value. I don't care which network you like. None of it meets giving you hope and inspiring and promoting progress. So, be careful what you're scrolling on Twitter, because is it giving you hope and inspiring and promoting progress? So that's number one for your mindset, because right now we've got to check it. Wayne, this is hard. What we're being asked to do is hard. I'm working from home. I should have been in a bold room yesterday and the day before, and instead I was at home. So that's hard. Number two, my 8-year-old daughter, Naomi, she's home, right? And she's not going back. And so we're doing our best to work with the school to educate her. And then my wife is home. Like, I think we're being asked to do the impossible right now. And our first responders are being asked to do the impossible. And teachers and educators are being asked to do the impossible. So who you hang out with matters, because I'll tell you, while the virus is spreading, the negativity spreads faster. And for most people, the negativity will bring you down more than the virus. You have a greater chance of becoming mentally ill from negativity around you than you do from getting coronavirus. So you got to pay attention to who you're hanging out with. That's the attitude piece, Wayne.
Nice. Okay, that's awesome. And then, because we've got about 4 minutes left here, Gary. Is that about right? 4 or 5 minutes? Okay, cool.
Oh, I've been talking too long, but
you're good, man. You're good. So the actions piece, for those people who haven't been on the Bold Pivot page, they're really, we've been making our care calls. Maybe you can touch on that a little bit, what that looks like, and how many we should be making.
I will. So very quickly, I'll give it to you quick. It's 20 phone conversations in the morning, and they're care calls. And I say you got to do the 3 C's: care, compassion, and common sense. That's what it is. It's care, compassion, common sense. How are you? How's your family? What can I do for you? That's care and compassion. You might ask what's going on with their work situation. And when you do that, oftentimes they'll ask you what's going on in real estate. Common sense tells you whether or not you turn it into a sales call. If they don't bring up real estate, you don't bring up real estate, you move on. So 20 voice to voice of those in the morning, Wayne. And then in the evening, 20 text message, 2-way conversations, or Facebook DMs, whatever you want. And you can do that. I mean, you could do that while you're watching Tiger King. I don't really care when you do it. Just sit and send the message, and you'll be in really good shape there. So that's really the action that I want you to take. Have you been watching that in Canada, by the way, the Tiger King?
I have not jumped into it yet, no.
Talk about Carol Baskin is like 11 miles from me, so I got to be on the lookout.
Oh, wow. That's right, James. Yeah.
And, I can tell you from personal experience from making those care calls, they're so great. Not only that they give you great energy, and when you ask them about how they're doing, I would say 3 out of 4 phone calls turn into, and by the way, how's the market doing? And that's
almost always. Yeah.
That's almost when the common sense piece picks in.
A rundown of that conversation, if that's okay. If we've got time, I don't want to go over it. When they do switch it to real estate, it's a 3-layered approach, Wayne. And you know how I work. I'm systematic in this stuff. So when they bring up real estate, I think you tell them, number 1, we're still working, right? So people are still doing business. Number 2, here's what's happened in the last 24 hours. There have been this many listings, this many pendings, and this many closings, because the number's not going to be 0. And then the third part is you ask for business either directly or indirectly.
Right. And then you get common sense from there. You create your opportunity. It's either a now opportunity or down the road. And again, it's mind share, right? We're looking for.
Yeah, mind share now for market share later. And you're going to run in. I mean, the Toronto market is so tight and so hot right now that, even as I'm hearing from Canadian agents, especially in Toronto, like you guys, it's been tougher, except stuff's selling and you're getting multiple offers. And it's, now I don't know, does that last forever? It depends on how strict your government is. They're being pretty tough on certain things. And so we'll just have to see what happens down the line.
Absolutely. Gary, how are we doing on time?
We're still good for a few minutes. I love that quote though. And I don't want to you said it so fast. And I know people that have been tuning in to you in the morning for the last 3 or so weeks hear it all the time, but that mind share for market share later, expand a little bit on that, James, and what that truly does mean when you peel the onion away.
Yeah. So I learned that from Linda McKissick. I want to give credit to her because she's the one who said it. And the thing that I want you to think about is this, that right now it is a different time. And in fact, Gary in the book says you have to ramp up your lead generation because there are fewer of the motivated to find. So you got to check in on more people. I firmly believe that, Q2 is going to be wonky. The second quarter is going to be a little bit weird. The decisions, though, that you make today will determine what your third and fourth quarter looks like. I think some of the calls we make right now are not going to turn into right now business. They're going to turn into later business. And so it's important to know that. I think Gary says in the book, page 34, he says that when a shift hits, initially everyone gets hit equally. All boats float lower because the market doesn't discriminate. And he says what happens first is unequal and without choice. I'm sorry. What happens first is equal and without choice. What happens next is unequal and determined by choice. So the agents that choose to do 40 contacts a day are setting up the rest of their 2020 to be amazing. The ones who are fighting it and ignoring it, they're at risk. They're at risk.
I love that somebody in the morning group talked about running with the resistance band on, and I love that visual of for those of us who are got our feet moving right now, who are making the call, who are loading up the pipeline and the opportunities. When that resistance band is finally dropped, off we go. And if you're not running right now, when the resistance band is dropped, you're starting from 0 and you got to build that momentum up.
Wayne, there's always a gift in a shift as long as we're participating. I don't know about you. I feel like I'm working more right now than I've like ever worked, and I haven't been paid a penny. And there's a payoff for me later. I firmly believe that I'm running at a speed that there will be a payoff that other people just quite frankly can't catch up to. You're exactly right. In the last couple of minutes, can I talk about accounting, Wayne? Would that be okay? Because that's the third A.
Yep.
And I think we've got to go through and look and make sure that our money is smart. We've got to make our money smart again. And the one thing, Instagram account posted something that I thought was genius. They said there's 4 levels of your money. So go check your spending. Number 1 is mission critical. So that is, your mortgage. Of course, in Canada, you make sure people can pay their mortgages. So you've got your mortgage. You might have your car payment. In the US, I would talk about health insurance people are buying, all those different things. So you've got to look at mission critical. Number 2 is you look at that and you want to evaluate, is it getting the return you want? This is an expense you're using, and is it working, and should you be spending money on it? And so you need to go and evaluate that. Am I getting the return I want? Number 3 is, this is stuff I would like to keep. And I would put Netflix, Sirius XM radio, any of those subscription services you have, I'd put it in that box. And then the 4th one is, what is that? I don't even know what that is. And we all have them. So if you go and print out 6 months, a year's worth of credit card and bank statements, and you go line by line and you write a 1, 2, 3, or 4 next to those, that's going to wake you up. And I think you got to cut some expenses. If you want the full list, go follow the one thing on Instagram. That's where they posted it over the weekend. And then I want to connect with you too. James D. Shaw. James D. Shaw on Instagram is how you can connect with me.
And so that's amazing, James. Thank you so much. And I know you're jumping into all these team meetings, and you're doing it, like you said, you're working harder than you ever did before. And I think in this where we are, true leaders rise to the top. And I think in the months to come, you're going to be stopped countless times at family reunion. People are going to say to you, man, that 8 o'clock call that you did that 20 minutes every day from Monday to Friday got me through. It's helping me. So on behalf from me and my family, from everybody else who's on that call, it's just amazing. So if you're not on that call yet, guys, Facebook page, it's Pivot Shift Ahead. And also James has another Facebook page. He does a podcast called Positively Dad. It's geared towards dads. Go there, like that page. James, thank you, man. Thank you so much. Love to your beautiful family, Terry and Naomi, man. Thank you. Stay safe. And we really appreciate you taking the time.
Wayne, thank you. It was great to chat with you. And I appreciate Gary. Thanks for having me on. And I will tell you real quick, thank you for mentioning Positively Dad. The one way, if you want to do something to say thank you for the time or whatever, it's follow that, because that's more important to me than anything else. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so
James.
much.
James, thank you. Lori, make sure you put that in our comments here. Positively Dad. That's amazing. We'll make sure people get connected to that. James, all the best to you. Take care for now.
Appreciate you.
Wayne, thank you for setting that up.
Oh, my pleasure. He's amazing.
Yeah, he really is.
I hate to gush over another man, but
a little man crush there.
Yeah, a little man crush, man.
Okay.
He was a great coach, and he just, if you're not on that call, I don't know why you're not on that call every morning, 8 o'clock.
Yeah. That's all it is to it. It's my dad's always said, it's not what you know, it's who you know, it's who you're able to connect with. So thank you for making that connection for
my pleasure.
Okay, we'll say bye to you for now.
Bye-bye.
We'll bring on Marvin, and we're going to talk about the next initiative here. So Marvin, we've got our friends, Mitch, ready to come on the stream here, I believe.
Right.
And,
by the way, Gary, before we go, that was amazing. I really thoroughly enjoyed listening to James. Thank you, Wayne. And thank you, James, for your time. First of all, the Tiger King thing was pretty funny, but also I just loved, some of the things he had to say, like mind share now for market share later and so on. So it's wonderful. Anyhow, now we're going to bring on our friends. We're going to bring on Lou Pelosa and Mitch, who actually, what these guys have done is figured out a niche in the market that we really need right now, and that I believe, Gary, is going to be required as we come out of this market as well. And so they have a phenomenal company. It's called We Clean COVID-19. And we're going to be talking about the services that they provide. And a very quick generic overview of what this is all about, guys, is that they actually have a way to use a product that is a food grade product, very safe to go into a home and essentially clean it so that they can leave it COVID free for the next occupant. And it comes complete with a certificate. I think this is going to change the way business is going to go moving forward. In fact, as business does change, the new norm is very likely going to be something along the lines where the current owner moves out on one day and the new owner moves in on the next day into a sterilized home that is COVID free. So I am not the expert to speak on this, as we all know, but I would like to introduce those two experts to you. So we have Mitch and Lou from We Clean COVID-19. Welcome, gentlemen. Can they hear us okay? Can you hear us okay? I'm not sure. Maybe they're frozen, Gary. Are they frozen?
And how's our going?
We got you frozen there, Mitch.
We're here.
Okay, so I'm not sure if you heard. Did you hear the introduction? They're having
yes.
Okay, perfect. So we've got Mitch Moschenberg and Lou Palozza. Maybe Mitch, you can give a bit of an overview of the company, the product you use, the methodology behind it, and we can actually interact and touch on some of the benefits for our people. And it's exciting too because we are the first real estate company that you've actually become associated with in terms of launching this product, correct? I think we're having some problems with their internet. Can you hear us okay?
We're having technical. Can you hear us?
We can hear you now. So why don't you talk about the product a little bit, and then we'll see if we can get through the issues with the internet connectivity there.
All right. I was going to suggest that I try to change my router address also. If you're hearing me now, I can talk.
Yeah, we can hear you. So go ahead, Mitch. That's great.
Okay, good. So thank you all for your patience and for having us out. Thank you, of course, to Marvin Alexander for having Lou and I speak to potentially work with you at a really what's an unprecedented time in history. Me and Lou created We Clean COVID-19. Lou is our CEO. I'm the COO. 60 years of combined professional experience in the construction and the abatement business. COVID-19 to provide to a problem. And the problem, of course, is the potential presence of the SARS virus and pathogen within the homes and businesses that we're dealing with. We developed our program specifically and there was a reason why we did that. But without getting into too much detail, I want to really go directly to our services, what we provide. And I'm going to provide a bit of a description for 3 distinct services. Problem of SARS-CoV-2 within the homes that you folks are selling and buying with and for your client.
Gentlemen, I'm not sure.
COVID cleaning, or what we call a level 1.
Are we in?
You're coming and going, guys. We're having a really difficult.
Can you hear us?
It's not the broadcast is coming and going, so I'm not sure if there's an issue with your internet connectivity there.
Yeah, we are having an issue with it. So perhaps Marvin, you want to give a true oversight of what it is that they're going to be helping our agents with, and more importantly, the industry with, and perhaps how it is going to become more of the norm, as it were. I know you and I had a long discussions around this yesterday, but I'd like to get your insight on what what services are going to be providing?
Sure. So again, I might not be able to explain it to the same degree that Mitch would have, but in light of the fact that obviously their internet connection is not working. So essentially what happens is, as you can see in this picture on the screen, this is from their website, We Clean COVID-19. A team of people actually goes in, and they go in hazmat suits. And those hazmat suits that you see, including gloves and booties and all that sort of thing, are not because of the product that they're applying to sterilize the home. It's actually to protect the workers in the event that the house is subject to COVID-19 when they arrive. So it has nothing to do with the application of the product. So as Mitch was explaining to us last night, in order for them to actually do this service, the house needs to be vacant, so free of furniture. It also needs to be clean. So they have cleaning services that they provide if need be. So that means things like grease on the countertops, you know, kids' Legos laying around, like everything has to be cleaned out of the house so that when they do the application process, Gary, it's not going to be tainted by having some of those contaminants in the home. The other thing is the pre-clean involves an HVAC cleaning. So they're actually cleaning out the heating and air conditioning system and all of the ductwork, because of course that would be a means of transferring the COVID-19 virus. So once the preliminary clean is done, they come in and they do what they call a level 1 cleaning. So this team shows up, they actually put a sign on the door, and they go through a complete sterilization of the home. And the interesting thing is they're actually removing, I believe the terminology is the pathogen that COVID-19 requires to exist. So it cannot physically exist without this pathogen. So this food grade application they do, they go in and they fog the house, for lack of a better term, where they actually are applying the product via a fogging system plus wiping down all the hard surfaces. And in doing so, they're removing the ability for the COVID-19 virus to exist. So the concept basically is it takes a few hours for the application to be done. These guys have been doing a variety of remediations over the years. They've just adapted what they've done to COVID-19. It's science. They actually provide you with a certificate. Again, you know, we're going to be very careful. We're not making any representations or warranties, but there is nothing else on the market that exists like this. So essentially, there's an additional service that can be provided afterwards at an additional cost, whereby they would actually have an independent scientist come in, swab test, and verify the levels within the home and that everything is okay. But the level 1 sterilization process essentially is exactly what I explained. The house has to be in a clean state. It's likely going to involve a pre-cleaning where they come in and clean out the HVAC system and ductwork and so forth, any surface cleaning that's required, and then they go into this process. So the way I see it is it could be used as a marketing opportunity for somebody that wants to say, we're going to be delivering you this home COVID clean. Right, I think, and the wording and the terminology is going to be very important. And we have a certificate from this company that's going to be, thank you, Colin, for putting it on the screen, providing you with a certificate. And there's going to be literature at the home and all that sort of thing. From that point on, the responsibility is up to the buyer. And I can tell you that the one builder that they've already contracted with is Treasure Hill. So they're doing the Treasure Hill new home deliveries. And we are the first real estate brokerage that they've been speaking to, and now opening the opportunity up to us as well. So that's a bit of an overview on that, Gary. I'm sorry that they're having some problems there with their tech.
Now, I think this is such a huge advantage for our listings, and it can also be for buyers as well, right? And then one of the really neat things when we were talking with them yesterday is, and it was so simple, yet this is the part that I grasped onto. After they go and clean their home, the vacant home that is, they could basically seal the front door, as you might see a sealed front door with a sticker, and it basically says, you know, this home has been COVID-19 cleaned, and it just provided, to me, I thought, a really cool level of a confidence within the home that you're purchasing, confidence perhaps in the services of the buyer realtor or the seller realtor. And I just think this, as we were talking last night, this may become one of those things that is now the new norm. We're buying a house, we're going to close on it, yet it needs to be vacant for a day or two. So we're going to have to, at the very minimum, have some bridge financing, not to move, but in order to get it cleaned.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what's going to happen. And we were speaking with Mitch and Lou for over an hour last night with Christine as well. And that's likely going to be the new norm. I'm sure there'll be some changes in financing to allow for the house to be delivered in a clean state of repair. So yeah, things are going to change, right? And we're just looking to create opportunity for our people. We say it, and we've said it since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, that in adversity comes opportunity. You just have to look for it. So we will be the first to be able to roll this out. And I think that it will give you a distinct advantage. It will also calm some buyers down that maybe have reservations if they have, people that are at high risk or so forth in the family that may not want to make a move. This might be an alternative that can be presented. And they are extending special pricing for our brokerage. The cost of the phase one or level one cleanup is $1.25 per square foot, and there's a range. So that's a very general pricing, and they would have been better to explain that. But it goes up to a certain square footage, and then the price will change from there. So it would be sort of almost like a one-off pricing, as they call, but it's around $1.25 a square foot, which is a reduction from the standard pricing. And I think, didn't he say yesterday that the preliminary cleaning is somewhere around $800 or something like that for an average 2,500 square foot house to do HVAC and maybe some degreasing around the appliances or something? Is that kind of what it was?
Yeah, there are some very specifics on the pricing and then the level of cleaning that is required even before the COVID-19 cleaning comes into effect. But going forward, we'll make sure everyone has the clear description of the service being provided and the cost being provided. And this might be one of those things, I'm thinking out loud now, that perhaps you work this into your transactions, whether you're on the sell or the buy side. And to me, this is such, we're always looking for ways to help our clients dispose of homes, meaning sell their homes or acquire homes, and to provide confidence in your services. This is a way you can perhaps write some of that stuff up into contracts and get it into deals. And I think this is, I've not heard about this until, a day or two ago. And immediately I thought, oh my gosh, the amount of opportunities this is going to provide is going to be amazing.
I think so. And Lou, they're having problems, but they did message me that the primary cleaning is 91 cents a square foot. So, it might be a couple of $1,000 or so for 2,500 square foot home, but that's a pretty thorough cleaning to allow them to do this this level one cleaning that enables them to provide that certificate. So $1.25 a square foot for the COVID cleaning. And again, there's some form of a sliding scale there based on the size of the home. And that's our pricing, and then 91 cents for the pre-clean. So yeah, I think I think things are changing, and this may be something that actually exists coming out of the COVID-19 pandemic as the new norm, right, Gary? Like, I'm not really sure how it's all going to go, but for now, we're providing a service that nobody else has been able to roll out, right?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. After the meeting here, we'll make sure everyone has all the information they need from that, and I think that's such a great thing to lead our market with. And so there's so many opportunities there. So I wouldn't get caught up on the cost of it, because what it's going to allow you to do is to get that home sold or purchased. That's the outcome we want, to better serve our clients and to support our clients. This is one way. Awesome. Good job, Marvin.
Well, not as good as Lou and Mitch would have done, but thank you very much. And I think in the big scheme of things, someone selling a house for $700,000, $800,000, $1 million plus, an investment like this, I think it's going to be more than recouped in the net sale price anyways. They're going to have a larger pool of buyers. They'll also be able to go to the market maybe right now when others are reluctant to do so. So there's a lot of advantages to doing this. So yeah, I think it's a cool product.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, that's cool. I'm going to invite Christine to come on the screen with us. We'll say bye to Marvin for a moment. And this segment is what's known as Broker Bits. So Christine, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks. How are you?
I am doing good. Doing good. We got lots on the stream, still lots of good information here. So why don't you kick us off and I'll get your slides up here as you're kind of kicking us off here.
Okay, great. So there's two main things I wanted to talk about today, and that's how Command fits into RICO compliance. So one of the main things that RICO needs is to be able to search our transactions by their address. So Gary, could you bring up those slides?
One moment.
All right. Well, we're waiting for that. I'm filming today from my kitchen, and behind me is written in Italian tutto bene, which is everything is good. And the three plaques underneath is family, God, and work. And when those things are in order, life does work out better. Okay. So Broker Bits, the Command and RICO. Thanks, Gary. Perfect. And moving on to that. So the transactions must be searchable by address. So when we've completed your transactions in Command, we download them into a safe storage place, which is what RICO wants us to do. Of course, it has to be stored in Ontario. So we're RICO compliant. And the way it has to be stored is through searchable. So I'm going to show you how to do that on the next slide. So we make sure that, number one, everyone dealing with your compliance. So Heather, myself, the front desk, Jacqueline, our MCA, Stephanie, everyone needs to be able to search this. So if you can see that where I have number one is you actually name the transaction by the address. And you do that by clicking on the pen, which is not in blue, but I wanted you to see where it's located. Pardon me, and then automatically where you see number two, it will update the transaction to be listed by address. So once you've done the address and name your transaction, you can name it anything after that. So you can put in your client's name, you can put in, that it is a listing, whatever makes it usable for you. But the number one thing in that field should be the address. So we can move on to number two, slide number two.
Oops, too fast. Sorry.
No problem.
There we go.
Awesome. So when you're in your listings, you'll see under documents, there are three categories. And so the first is the listing documentation. So everything like the working with a realtor, the MLS listing sheet, all those things live there. And that's where you upload them. And the second is under contracts. And now you've gone on and you've sold it. You have an offer. The offer and all the details of the offer, Schedule B, Schedule C, the COVID forms, etc., live there. And then under the closed is the trade record sheet. There'll be a copy of the EFT we pay you. But I also want you to notice, this is an actual listing, by the way, and it's mine, that under listing, you'll see rejected. And that is so that you know that there's something that needs to be adjusted. And once you go in and adjust it and reload it into that section, and it will show you in that section exactly what piece of documentation needs to be reloaded. Once you reload it, then we're informed that that's been corrected and we can move on with the transaction. So Gary, if you want to move on to the next slide. Now for buyers and documentation, there are also three categories. Only the first one really changes. So that's the consultation. So that's where you would have your BRA, still working with a realtor, any of the COVID forms necessary. Under contract is again that you have sold that client a property or help them attain one rather. And that would be where the offer is, etc. All the forms there. And then it closed again is any of the documentation that's personal to you. If we can move on to the next one. So really important is that you check your command. Once you've uploaded, you want to be checking that daily to see if anything has been rejected. If anything you can see there is missing, you can see where I've replaced a document. And the way you know that that is there is that red circle around the bell doesn't have a red circle, but will have a bell with a little red dot, which will alert you that something needs to be adjusted in your transaction. And there's notes, like we will leave you notes, like perhaps you're missing a signature or the date is incorrect or whatever it is, we'll leave you a little note. So whether it's the front desk doing that or Heather or myself, you'll be informed as to what's missing and it'll help you get that stuff in order. And if you've done any uploading, it's super easy. So that's most of that. And we're going to move on to COVID.
Oop, here we go.
Awesome. So I took somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 or 5 hours yesterday to upload all the forms into Command. So when you're in Command and in Documents, and on the left you see the document name with an underline just beneath it, that tells you that the sample document is there. So if you don't have to go looking for the COVID forms, they actually are there for you to download, fill in, and upload. Also, you'll see in that is what we're referring to as a cheat sheet. And I want to draw your attention to C, which is our Form C. And Form C is actually, it's not a form. Schedule C is actually a form that helps you secure the transaction. So what that is saying is, in the event something goes wrong with the lawyers, the registry system, someone becomes fatally ill or semi-fatally ill, is hospitalized, what's going to happen? So we've actually, Marvin created a contingency plan for all those events. As far as I know, no other brokerage has those in place. So people are asking me, how do we initiate that? And do we do it on deals that are already firm? Do we do it with when we're representing the buyer and the seller? And the answer to all those is yes. But the way you initiate it is very important. So just don't send, especially on a firm deal, just don't send the Schedule C off to the other realtor and expect them to understand it and fill it in. What you have to do is attach it to an amendment to the agreement of purchase and sale. So they're agreeing to add the Form C onto it. And then you can go on, or the Schedule C, you can go on to explain all the reasons that it's there. It is self-explanatory, but as with anything new, and certainly in this situation, people are scared. So the more you can explain what it is, how it's there to protect the deal, how it's there to secure the deal, you're going to find that they're much more accepting of it. However, in the event they don't, we're going to go to a few frequently asked questions. Gary, this is really small. Actually, maybe I can do it some other way. Okay, so do I need a Schedule C for my buyer transactions? Yes, you need it for both. What is the best way to submit it on a firm deal? So as we discussed, send an amendment, attach the Schedule C as a part of the amendment. The wording for the amendment is in that cheat sheet in purple. And the other thing is, what if they don't sign it? They're not obligated to make a change to a firm deal, right? They've already signed the firm deal. It's already on its way. So what if they don't sign it? Reach out to me. We have some specific wording that helps them understand the form better. And we want them to make sure that they are obligated, as you know, to present an offer. And an amendment is like an offer. So they're obligated to present it. They can't, as a brokerage, as a realtor, make a unilateral decision not to present the form. So we really want to, and if they do, then please reach out to me, and we have a certain procedure for helping you and the other side understand the form and get through it, so we're protecting all ends of the transaction. And if you can move on to the next one. Form 3 and 4, where do I upload? Where do I find them? So Form 3 and 4, scroll back down.
Yeah, it's coming.
Okay. Form 3 and 4 they're interesting forms. So these are to work with if other realtors are bringing buyers into our property. So Form 3 is the realtor saying, I've filled out Form 4 with my buyers. They've met all the criteria. They're not sick. We're going to take certain precautions in your sellers' homes. If we do become sick, we're going to let you know. Form 3 is the realtor confirming that they have all that information and filled out Form 4. They don't have to share Form 4 with us. As you know, they're going to want to be protective of their potential buyers, which is great. But we really want to take care of our sellers and make sure that that is filled out. So again, where you can find those, as they were emailed to you a while back, but they're also on command and you can download them there. When you're acting for a buyer, you should be filling out those forms, because you never want to be accused of not taking the precautions necessary. You also want to provide them with, a form that says that you're healthy, which is Form 3. So we want them done on both the buyers and the seller's side. And Form 5, do I need it for my buyers? Well, you're going to use Form 5, which is any auxiliary people coming into the home. So the stager, the photographer, that's at the selling end. But, when you're selling a mortgage broker there, or not a mortgage broker, an appraiser there, you also want them to fill out a Form 5. So these forms are for both ends of the transaction, whether you're on the buyer end or on the seller end. And once they're complete, you can load them up to command. When you get those forms in, the front desk, certainly with Form 5, will help, or Form 3 that allows for the showing. We want to facilitate those showings for you. So the front desk is ready and prepared to also accept those and upload those. And if we can move on to the next slide.
Broker hotline.
Broker hotline. I just want to say we are connected. This, as you've noticed, we're working harder than ever. And that starts from the top. So Marvin, Gary, myself, the ALC, all the executive team, the front desk, everybody is working harder. And we're doing that to make sure that your transactions and you're supported, and that you're supported. The broker hotline is amazing. There's so many skilled realtors there that are brokers that have been trained and ready to help. So reach out to us. We're there for you.
Perfect. Thank you, Christine.
You're welcome.
I'm going to leave you on the screen, if that's okay. I'll bring Marvin on here as well. And we're going to talk about a couple of things that are coming over the next, we have Red Day coming up. So I thought it'd be important to talk about that. Oh, we also got our stats. Let's go through, because people were questioning, hey, are we going to go through some stats? What's going on? Yes, I got some stats. Right. I'll bring Wayne on the screen here too. And here we go, Wayne. I just added you, so make sure you're smiling. Good. Okay, so here's our sold stats for April 1st to yesterday. So this is for areas that we typically stay on, keep track of, and these are all freehold. So on the market, you can see the numbers there, and I'm just going to scroll forward so you can start seeing where we're at. Again, this is for all the homes that have sold. So 24 homes have sold in the first few weeks, 3 weeks of April. 57 down in Aurora and Georgina area. And then our solds versus 2019 were this. So obviously we've talked about the market shifting and being down for this current month. In the month of March, we still saw a tremendous amount of business, and obviously moving in or the few weeks, 3 weeks in April, that business has shifted. And so a lot of those things that we've been talking about today, like the conversation with Dion, how can we add value to our clients? The conversation with James Shaw, for instance, what are the types of conversations we can be having with our clients? How do we pour into them? I love his line earlier, take mind share now for market share later. This is why we need to be doing this and spending time learning. And of course, with the clean COVID-19, clean your home, that to me is going to be one of those things that's going to set you, the agent, apart from everything. So just a quick couple of slides on stats. I'm going to actually skip some of the stats and I will send them out to you in an email. And because I want to talk about some of the other things that we are working on, like for instance, Red Day and the website that is a secret, but not so secret. So we're going to talk about that. So I'm just going to...
Gary, that one thing I want to say about this slide before we move on, if you don't mind. So I think we could all agree that about 25% of the realtors out there do zero. Not our realtors, but as a general comment, right? So what you saw from our March stats, and our April stats aren't in yet because we track those as of about the 17th day of May. We'll have the April stats in for our market center. So what I saw for our market center is actually the numbers, we actually improved in some categories or remained about the same. We were within 5 sales March 20 versus March 2019. What I'm extrapolating from this is I think the agents that are productive are still doing more or less the same amount of business. It might not be exactly the same, but the lion's share of those deals are going to agents that are doing the activities. So I think what you have to look at is under normal circumstances in 2019, we had 146 transactions in new market. That's because even weaker agents who weren't doing the proper activities were still transacting. And I'm suggesting that even with fewer transactions, the stronger agents are still going to get their unfair share of this. And coming out of this market, I think they're going to gain market share that they never relinquish. And I think our brokerage is going to do the same thing. So there's always a message in the numbers. We just got to kind of look for it, right? And really analyze it. So sorry for interrupting.
No, that's quite all right. There's always a message in numbers. I love that. So quickly, let's talk about Red Day. And we've had some great conversations on Red Day. Red Day, for those of you that aren't familiar, is a day once a year in May where every Keller Williams associate, employee, we all give back to the community some way, shape or form. And obviously we've been, in the past, we've done car washes. We've helped out at camps to fix up the camps. We've done all sorts of stuff to donate our time, our money, our resources. Obviously, in the current circumstances, Red Day is going to look different. And to me, different is such an awesome opportunity. We've had some great conversations around what that could look like with our ALC and the team. So this year, what we're doing, we haven't coined the name for it yet, but Red Day is going to take up the entire day, and the cause that we're going to be donating to is actually 4 different food banks. So Aurora, Newmarket, Georgina, and in Wyerton. And how we're going to do that is by this. We're actually going to be hosting anywhere from about 7 to 10 different Zoom sessions or Zoom calls. And those different calls are going to be everything from learn how to help me out here. Learn how to prepare a meal. Wayne suggested a mixology course, maybe a painting course where you can paint a scene, a Zumba class, a spin class, all sorts of things throughout the day. And the idea is you will donate X amount of money to attend that session. The cool thing is, because of the format that we're doing it on is Zoom, we want you to invite your sphere. We want you to invite your database to it. So that script could be, hey, I would love for you to join me on Zoom for this about Red Day. And maybe you say, hey, I've already bought you a spot for it, or help get the word out. We're going to get you great information on how to deliver that message, but that in the essence is what's going to happen during Red Day. We're going to do trivia contests throughout the day and end off with kind of a big Zoom party at the end of it. But we're ALC, the leadership team, the more we talked about it, the more excited we got. So look forward to that. Well, yes, how to cut your own hair. Adam Lesperance. That I love. That I love. And we're all shaping up to have our most recent Zoom cuts, especially Wayne. So anyways, what we're going to be asking of you as well is perhaps somebody that has a specific talent in your sphere that can donate their time in order to help promote this. So that might be a chef, that might be a mixologist or an artist or so forth. Anyways, that's what we're doing. Look for the information from us on how to move this ball forward, because Red Day is going to be pretty exciting this year. That's what I got to say about that.
Great job, Gary. Way to go, buddy.
Okay. Here's Marvin. Do you want to take this piece? I'm gonna flip bring this screen down.
All right.
And we're going to actually, there's one thing I wanted to mention, Marvin, and maybe you can take the lead on this, is Wasim had reached out to Marvin and I on a really cool initiative that he's working on. So Marvin, why don't you do that?
Is there a slide or something? Or
I don't have the slide for it. No, I don't. Sorry.
So Wasim has actually thrown his hat in the ring for director at large with Treb. And it is pretty exciting stuff, right? So we all want to make sure that we really support Wasim in this initiative, vote for him. Also, obviously, speak with our local colleagues, because it's quite important to have a voice, not just for our brokerage or for Keller Williams at large, but even for our area. And he's always been very politically involved, very giving of his time, and we want to make sure that we do support Wasim. So we'll stay tuned. We will be circulating more information, updating and reminding everybody to vote. That's certainly what we need to do. I heard he's running against Donald Trump, so we should be able to kick some butt there. Bad joke, it's the only one I had. And let's move right along, shall we, Gary? Way to go, Wasim.
Let's
support you, buddy.
Okay, so we've been talking about this in the background. This is something that Marvin kind of had this idea pop into his head, the light bulb, if you will, about maybe 2 weeks ago now, not even.
I think Gary, longer than that, Gary. I think we've been working on it for 2.5, 3 weeks.
Exactly. Yeah. Feels like a year. And the comment was, what is the platform, or do we have a platform for our agents to share their exclusive listings on? And the answer was, no, not really. Mm-hmm. So after many conversations and lots of input from a lot of different people, this is what we came up with. So this website is built for our agents first. Exclusivelistings.info. And as we got to build upon it and work on it, we thought, why are we holding this to ourselves? This is something that we can leverage to the entire realtor community, so they can share their exclusive listings and help our sellers and buyers find the homes that they're looking for. Marvin, do you want to add to any of this at the moment while we kind of go through it a little bit?
Sure. So, it's interesting. I was thinking about it and I thought, well, there's so many times. Well, first of all, this was born out of COVID-19, right? So there's going to be great innovations and things that come as a result of the unfortunate circumstances of COVID-19. But then I realized this is a niche that should have been filled even before COVID-19, because there's so many times when sellers don't want to go to MLS right away or aren't ready to go to MLS right away. And realtors, of course, will sign listings up exclusively in anticipation of it eventually going to MLS. So I thought, well, why wouldn't we have, especially in this situation, a site where our realtors could post, as Gary said, their exclusive listings? And then that evolved through our conversations. Well, shouldn't we also have a site set up in such a manner that they can also post the criteria for their buyers without revealing their identity? So now we can have a matching between buyers and exclusive listings. And then we were really greedy at first and thought, let's keep it to ourselves. That was me. But Gary and Christine, being much better at sharing than I am, said, no, we should roll this out to all brokerages, because then it becomes really strong and really powerful. And so, and it's free. So we've actually paid for this entire initiative. We have programmers helping us right now on continually improving the site. And the general idea behind the site is that this is not for listings on MLS. So if something transitions from this site to MLS, it must be removed from the site. And it's essentially a collaborative. It's free, as I said. And all the realtors on the site have complete control over their listings and their buyers. The logo was designed in such a way that all the different colors in the pixels are representative of all of the other brokerages, and they're under the red roof of Keller Williams as a collaborative. So that's what that's representative of, and it's very user-friendly. I actually even guided Darren today on how to register and load a listing. So Gary, why don't you talk a little bit about that? Excuse me. You can see where we had just there that it was built by realtors for realtors. Wow, look at that. Scroll up a little bit, Garrett. So built by realtors for realtors. So we kind of know what realtors want. And it made us realize that maybe a lot of these sites really weren't built by realtors, right? For realtors. So you're going to see that it actually has more functionality even than an MLS site. So right now we have, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 listings already loaded on the site that are exclusive. And what you're looking at right there is it will continually rotate the 7 most recent exclusive listings posted on the site. It kind of looks like, well, I don't want to say any other company's names, but it looks like some of those very user-friendly consumer sort of sites where you can get an overview of the listing. And again, we emphasize it's collaborative. The features are really there. So you can load everything you'd expect to load, right, Gary? Like price, dwelling size, all the images, virtual tours. It has a capacity. You can load a lot more information. Every person who's on the site and registered gets up to 100 exclusive listings per year. You can load your floor plans, multiple files and documents, videos on QuickPage from QuickPages RE or YouTube or Vimeo. And the other thing that's kind of cool about this is you can track the analytics. So you'll be able to actually see how many users have seen the site, seen the listings on the site, and use that in your marketing materials. You'll be able to download the logo for your marketing materials as well. So it's a pretty cool thing. So you can show people that have listed with you exclusively how many people have actually looked at their listings. The geolocation that just passed us there on the screen, what that will allow you to do is actually track the distance from one of these listings to, let's say, your client's place of business. So they can say it's going to take them this long to get there, and this is how far it is. And the map feature that was underneath, as we start to get listings populated, they will populate on that map, right? Did I leave anything out, Gary? Or Christine?
No, I think you've covered it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really user friendly. If I look at this and pull up one of these listings, it zooms right in. If I'm limited and I want to, I'm in Stouffville, I can hit this just like any other Google map. It'll take you to Stouffville, that type of thing, wherever you're geographically located. It has all the information here. I can look around. I can move the map around. All the stuff you would expect to see on, I'll say, an up-to-date listing website. So we can click on the listing here. It's going to right into the listing. The cool thing here, I think it's cool because this is the one thing when you have exclusive listings, the big question is always, I wonder what they're cooperating or is, are brokers protected? Yeah, absolutely. So these are the pictures here. I think the pictures are just coming up strangely because of the stream, but I'm grabbing all these. I can pop them out and look at them in a larger view. This is the part right here, cooperating brokers commission. You have to input that in order to submit your listing. So all the information you'd expect to see on MLS listing is going to be here. The only thing that's not particularly in here are the room sizes, but everything else is in here from, everything else is in here. If you had virtual tours, you can link them into this and they stay all embedded right in here. So they're not being sent to some other website to go watch them. They're all staying here, what's nearby, all this kind of stuff. It's really, really cool. Oh, look at this, Christine Tonus's listing. How about that? And it'll say at the bottom of each listing who it's been broker loaded by. So obviously this would be Keller Williams Realty Centers, but as we roll this out into our community, other brokerages will pop up there, and it's incredibly easy. So how long does it take to load a listing? Maybe 10 to 15 minutes, depending on how. Yeah, nothing.
Less than 5.
Yeah, it's pretty quick.
There you go.
It's very fast.
Yeah. There's different ways. I'll let you guys go through this, but there's different ways to look at it. I can look at it in a list view. I can look at it on a big map, depending on, everyone likes to look at listings a little bit differently, but it's all in here. Very, very user friendly. That's what I love. To go load a listing, it's really, really easy. As we said, here's the part that we thought was really cool, and we'll show this quickly now before we just quickly sign off. Is the buyer form? Many of us have, we'll call it pocket buyers, and there's no listings out there for them to go look at, so they're just kind of sitting there on the sidelines doing nothing. Well, here's a way you can actually submit that buyer's requirements. Without divulging their personal information, you're only divulging your own information into the system. And this is all, self-explanatory. But what I love about this is it gets into, the size of the home, what type of home, the location, some of the features that they're looking at. And now what we'll be able to do is create a post out of this, so you can go search for buyers. So you might be just scrolling through this section up here, and this is something that we're just in the process of building out, although the functionality for the moment is there. They will show up as a list. And I think Mike Russo actually put a couple of buyers in here, Keswick and Stouffville, and we can go see their buyer requirements of what it is that they're looking for. You might say to yourself, I have a seller on that. I know somebody on that street. This is going to be, again, one of those amazing ways just to bring realtors together to help them, support our clients. So here's all the information that Mike's buyer is looking for. So this is a real buyer. If you go take a look at this, because maybe you have something that perhaps would fit their criteria. So there you go. There you go. So the website address again is exclusivelistings.info. Create your username. It's really easy to do. Marvin even did it. And go ahead and start submitting your listings to it. You can share the listing, the specific listing with your client, and you can just email that listing over to them. They'll see that landing page for it. This is one of those things that there's some other services out there, like different Facebook groups or what have you, say, I have an exclusive listing here. But what happens with those groups is your listing, you got to keep reposting that listing to stay on top. And if there's 2,000 members posting listings, that gets shot down to the bottom pretty quickly. Here's a site that we can all share and work on together. We'll call this beta version 1. So we expect you to tell us how to improve it. Do so, because we want this to be the best experience for you guys that we can make it. And we can roll this out to the other brokerages, and everyone can move forward. And, in this chaos, there's always opportunity. This is the opportunity that we see out there that certainly needed to be addressed, and we're pretty excited about it. So there you go. That's exclusivelistings.info.
And you summed it up perfectly well. So look, now we have an opportunity. So first, our realtors will go on a register. It's really simple. Go to sign up now, fill out the information. The terms and conditions are there. They're very straightforward. If the listing transitions to MLS, it has to come down. If your buyer buys or your tenant, leases, they have to come off, so that it maintains the integrity of the site. The public cannot enroll on this site. We ask for a RICO registration number. We verify the number before we let somebody register. So it's not to replace MLS, it's to enhance the MLS experience, or certainly fill the void before something goes to MLS, or maybe even never gets to MLS. Just think of how many more transactions we're going to do because we've invented this site. So our intent is to have our realtors up and running for about a week or so. Work out any bugs, certainly take any suggestions that you may have, get them to our programmers, and then roll it out to our colleagues at other brokerages afterwards. Even think of the opportunity in terms of building profit share, calling them up and saying, this is what we were the innovators of the COVID forms, the innovators of the Schedule C, and now we're the innovators of this exclusivelistings.info site. And the more people that join from other brokerages, the stronger and stronger that this site is going to become, right? I don't think the site will ever go away. I think that this is going to be something that will just continue to get better and better. So we hope that everybody really enjoys it and sees the amount of work that went into it. And I'm sure the comments are coming in. So is there anything you want to add, Christine? There's a lot of hours for all of us.
Again, it's just, when other brokerages are pulling back and operating from fear and shutting down, we're pushing ahead. When we push ahead, Marvin, you're coming up with something innovative almost daily. When we push ahead, and again, it shows leadership, but this pushing ahead means that our realtors get to experience a brokerage like it doesn't exist anywhere else. So thank you.
Well, thank you. And Wayne, from a mega agent's perspective, what are your thoughts on the site? Can you see that being an advantage when you go on listing presentations as well as with your current buyer and exclusive listing roster?
Yeah, I think a really cool advantage to that right now is the calls we're making with people are, I was going to list and now I'm not going to, right? And so you go down that road with them and you have that discussion and you decide if that's the best thing to do. However, if they're not ready to put the house on market right now, it's, well, Mr. Seller, if I could put you in a place where I could find you a buyer that, we can create a situation that works ideally for you, and you don't necessarily have to be on market right now and worry about, strangers traipsing through your house all the time, but we can still market your property. Would that be of interest to you? It's another opportunity to get somebody under contract right now, get them in the exclusive listings, be able to market their property, and then when they think it's right, and maybe when the market picks up or whatever their situation, and they're ready to put a sign on the front lawn, you're ready to go. But in the meantime, you've got them under contract, and we can start doing deals together.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. And it shows 0 days on MLS when they do go on MLS if it doesn't sell on this site. And I have a hunch in that a lot more are going to sell on this site than people think.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be pretty exciting. Gary, any final words from you on the site that we should talk about?
Use it. Use it. Provide feedback. It is just as Wayne said. It is a tool to help our clients, whether you're a seller or buyer. And we all have those sellers that are sitting on the fence. And here's a great way to market a home, not to the thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people on realtor.ca. Here's a way to market it to a unique group of realtors that have active buyers that don't. Here's the best part. If you're an agent looking on this site, that means you have a buyer that is bored of the inventory on the MLS. Now here are some new listings that aren't exposed to the MLS that you can expose your buyers or sellers to, depending on the conversation.
It's pretty cool.
There you go.
And it's
very cool value.
Yeah, and it's never been done before. There's never been a website for listings and buyers that brings them together with the realtor as the intermediary ever before. So, and the way that Gary designed it, I mean, the amount of information that you can actually put on any given listing is way more than what you would see on MLS, right? Gary, am I saying that correctly?
Yeah, it's so much more versatile. So, for instance, we're in the listing description, we can only put so much on an MLS listing, right? On this, we can go as long, as detailed as you want it to be, because sometimes we need those details in order to take that next step, like I want to book a showing, right? And so with that sort of stuff, I think, not to say we're leading edge, but we're leading edge on this because it's not been done before at this level or at this scale. There are some other programs that you've got to be members of, in a sense, your brokerage has to be a member of, but not quite like this. And if you, to Wayne and Marvin's point, the scripting around that, we can certainly help with the scripting. But if I'm sitting at a listing table or a listing Zoom meeting, for instance, this is a way that I can leverage that Zoom meeting to say, well, even if we want to go test the market, here's a great way we can go test the market and get it in front of some very active agents and get their feedback. There's all different types of scripting that we can certainly help you out with, but especially with the analytics behind it, because we can go see that X amount of this property got X amount of views within the last 3 weeks. And that is what our buyers or sellers are always looking for. Our sellers, for sure. Mm-hmm. And I could go on and on. I love it. I want people to use it. I want people to buy into it. And we already have, like, with just a few phone calls this morning, we got 6 listings popped up right away. So as people get to know about it, those listings will come up for sure.
Mm-hmm. And in those conversations too, you can say, and our brokerage developed this technology. So you're going to have that advantage always when you're out on listing presentations virtually or however it may be in the future, right? So it's pretty cool.
It is cool. Like for instance, sorry, Marvin, not to cut you off. And I know many people follow this strategy. So when I was, listing as many of you are, last year when I was listing homes, this was my strategy. I would make the listing go exclusive first so I can start getting that momentum, that marketing momentum built up. If I had this, then I could just see that marketing dollar being poured into something like this, and also the energy around it. So that becomes, again, one of those huge value adds.
Sure. And another idea too is builders. So a lot of builders don't want to go on MLS, but imagine now you can approach builders and say, I know you don't want to go on MLS, but how about this? This doesn't exist anywhere, right? So that's a huge opportunity. We can find opportunities in adversity. Like I would be doing things too, in addition to this, like I'd be hosting first-time homebuyer seminars via Zoom right now. And I would be hosting investor workshops via Zoom. And I would be using this technology to reach out to all of my clientele, both buyers and sellers. You may find that there's actually more business in this and more opportunity in this current real estate climate than you think. So we hope that you all use it, as Gary said. And once we get it up and running, full steam ahead, that you also reach out to colleagues at other brokerages that do a good amount of business that you feel are good people, and you can certainly refer it to them as well, and it will also be free for them. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah, and make sure that you use that logo in your listing presentations. I mean, that's a way to provide an added value that they're not going to get somewhere else. You're exposing them to a minimum of 250 people with our brokerage alone. But it's going to go far beyond that very, very quickly.
I think it'll be thousands, really, because I have a feeling it's going to spread even beyond our geography, right? And I'm quite confident there'll be other locations throughout the GTA that are going to want to jump in. So we'll just, but right now it's just for us.
Awesome. Well, this kind of brings us full circle on our April virtual team meeting. Tremendous amount of value. So reach out to our guests, Dion Beg, Kate Peterson, James Shaw, COVID-19, and I'm sure I'm missing people. But the one thing that we didn't mention, and that it's on my shoulders, is for our bold pivot that's launching in May. I don't have all the information in front of me, so that's my mistake. But what I'm going to send you an email, video email later. There's some really, really cool initiatives for those that are going to be taking it, and for those that want to invite their colleagues to it. Trust me, you're going to want to watch that email, and we want everybody to move forward, right? And move forward with confidence. Having bold, and Wayne will tell you, he's taken it countless times, is what keeps his business at that top level. So watch for that email, watch for some of the really cool tools that we're going to help you through these next couple of months for sure. Thank you to Wayne and Christine and to Marvin for hosting the meeting today. Thank you for everyone that watched. We had over 120 people at one time. It's always fun to do these types of meetings. Make it an amazing week. Use the resources, and take care. Stay safe. We'll talk to everybody real soon. Bye for now.
Bye, everybody. Thank you. Thanks, Gary.